On a dark and stormy night, a toy was created, not by innocent hands in search of fun, but by a dark and ancient ritual. This toy was the Chucky doll, destined to become a legend of terror. In an abandoned factory, a renegade wizard, Charles Lee Ray, sought to escape certain death. Pursued by the police, wounded and desperate, he used his dark knowledge to transfer his soul into the doll. The magic used was powerful and forbidden, bringing with it a curse. Chucky was not just any doll. He became a vessel for the soul of a cruel murderer. As lightning tore through the sky, the ritual was completed, but at a price. Charles Lee Ray, now trapped in the body of the doll, swore revenge against all who had betrayed him. Chucky's first victim was an unfortunate night guard at the factory. Unaware, the man found the doll and, thinking it was a lost toy, took it home. The night that followed was filled with horror and mystery, culminating in the guard's disappearance. The legend of Chucky began to form, fueled by whispers and fear. Chucky's fame grew as he found a new family. A boy, longing for a friend, received the doll as a gift. The innocence of childhood did not recognize the evil that dwelt in his new toy. But soon, strange and terrible events began to unfold, linking Chucky to a series of inexplicable tragedies. As the truth about Chucky began to reveal itself, few believed the stories of a possessed doll. Skeptics and believers clashed as Chucky's shadow stretched further. The police were baffled, unable to connect the dots between the brutal crimes and a simple toy. Meanwhile, the spirit of Charles Lee Ray within Chucky reveled in the chaos. His goal was not just to escape death, but also to exact revenge on those who had pursued him in life. He sought a human body to inhabit, a new beginning, but was trapped in the form of the doll until he found the right ritual for the transfer. Chucky's quest for revenge led him to face not only his victims, but also those who dared to try to stop him. Brave investigators, intrigued by the stories of a murderous doll, began to piece together the puzzle, drawing ever closer to the truth. Chucky's journey was marked by bloody confrontations, where his small form hid a terrible power. He was cunning, relentless, and above all, driven by an unquenchable rage. His victims, often caught by surprise, stood no chance against his fury. The city where Chucky was found became the epicenter of a growing fear. Parents and children looked at their toys with suspicion, fearing that among them could be another Chucky. Toy stores faced boycotts, and the production of the doll line was suspended, a tribute to the fear he had instilled. Eventually, a final confrontation was approaching, a battle between Chucky and those determined to end his reign of terror. The tension was palpable, each side knowing that only one could prevail. It was a fight not just for survival, but also for the soul of a community haunted by the presence of an unimaginable evil. In this clash, Chucky showed his true nature, a mix of supernatural cunning and brutality. He was no longer just a doll. He was the bearer of a legacy of fear. Those who faced Chucky discovered that beneath his twisted smile lay a disturbing force, a threat that defied logic and human understanding. But against him stood people with the courage to face the unknown, armed with the determination to end his cursed existence. At the heart of this battle, an unexpected discovery emerged. One of Chucky's pursuers, an expert in occultism, found a way to reverse the spell that gave life to the doll. This knowledge came with immense risks, as it required confronting Chucky on a ground he dominated, the world of shadows and spirits. Preparing for the final showdown, the city was enveloped in an atmosphere of fear and expectation. The streets became deserted at nightfall as families retreated, fearing they might be Chucky's next victims. But at the same time, there was a thread of hope, the possibility that the terror could finally be stopped. The night chosen for the confrontation arrived, charged with electric tension. Chucky, always one step ahead, launched into a final act of destruction, aiming to divert his opponents. His tactics were brutal, calculated to inflict not just physical damage, but also psychological terror. However, facing evil personified, the city's defenders showed remarkable resilience. Joining forces, they formed a circle around Chucky, reciting the incantation that could banish his soul forever. The fight was fierce. Chucky, though limited by the form of a doll, was a formidable opponent. At the climax of the confrontation, a beam of pure light emerged, enveloping Chucky in a vortex of energy. Screams of agony and rage echoed as the magic consumed him, his form beginning to disintegrate. For a moment, it seemed that evil would prevail, its strength threatening to break the circle. But then, with a final scream, the light intensified, and Chucky was completely consumed, leaving behind only ashes. The early hours brought a sepulchral silence. Victory had been achieved, but at what cost? The city mourned its dead, while relief mixed with the pain of loss. Chucky's legacy was one of destruction and fear, but also of unity among those who stood up to face him. The news of Chucky's destruction spread quickly, a legend that would be told and retold, serving as a grim reminder of what had happened. But in the world of shadows, evil is never fully eradicated. Whispers began to emerge, stories of other cursed objects and vengeful spirits, reminding everyone that vigilance must be eternal. Over the years, the story of Chucky turned into a cautionary tale, a story to scare disobedient children. But for those who lived through the terror, it was a constant reminder that sometimes monsters are real, lurking in the shadows, waiting for the moment to return. And as the world moved on, the abandoned factory where it all began remained standing, a silent monument to the night when evil walked among them, and to the courage of those who stood up to stop it. In the calm that followed, the city slowly began to rebuild, trying to leave behind the scars left by Chucky. The factory where he had been conceived was demolished, a symbolic act meant to erase the last traces of his reign of terror. In its place, a park was created, a space of light and joy, contrasting with the shadows of the past. Survivors of those dark nights found comfort in each other, forming a community more united than ever. They understood the importance of sharing stories, of keeping alive the memory of those who had been lost, and of learning from the past. The fight against Chucky became a testament to human resilience, to the ability to overcome even the darkest adversities. However, as with all horror stories, the peace found was fragile. Years later, in a forgotten corner of the new park, a child discovered a small fragment of red plastic, almost completely buried in the earth. It was all that remained of Chucky, but within that fragment resided a spark of the evil that had once terrorized the city. The child, innocent and curious, took the piece home, unaware of the power it contained. The city, now vigilant, remained alert for any signs of strangeness, determined never to be caught off guard again. Authorities established new safety measures, and citizens formed watch groups, promising to protect their homes and families from any future threat. The story of Chucky served as a grim reminder of what can happen when evil is underestimated. But it also spoke of hope, of the strength found in unity, and of the courage needed to face the darkness. The city had survived Chucky, but the battle against evil never truly ends. It was a lesson they would carry with them forever, a legacy of vigilance passed from generation to generation. Thus, the story of Chucky, the killer toy, became an urban legend, a story told around campfires and on stormy nights when the wind howls and the shadows seem to move on their own. It served both as entertainment and as a warning. Somewhere between reality and fiction, evil waits, always ready to emerge when least expected. And as the city moved forward, the truth remained hidden in the depths of their hearts. Evil never dies, it only changes form. They had won a battle, but the war against the shadows is eternal. The red fragment, now forgotten in an old toy box, glowed faintly under the moonlight, a whisper of threats yet to come.